are there any such representative in the room? Then I would ask them to speak first, and then we would open the floor to the usual suspects. Or are you actually saying that there are no such application that Piers is telling me the room will be full of? But the Digital Europe is. I think you've had your time already, Bridget. But
Thank you very much, Mr. Animator. Indeed, I would just draw to the attention of the audience that Digital Europe and our members, most importantly our national trade associations who are active in every one of the member states, have active groups working on e-accessibility, and indeed our activities there look at ensuring that wireless applications, be they fixed wireless, satellite or mobile, are adapted to ensure that e-accessibility for handicapped as well as other groups are adopted. And I would also draw to the attention of the audience that our engagement in the ICT for Energy Efficiency Forum does include review of use of wireless solutions in order to use, in particular, monitoring and measurement of energy use and energy efficiency gains in the energy sector, the transport sector, and the construction sector. And so in that instance, this question is addressed.
So perhaps a second and final call, except from Bridget, are there any representative from the healthcare, green energy, people helping the disabled? Yeah, you, gentlemen. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Animator. I'm Egil Bovim, speaking on behalf of the Public Safety Communication Europe. And we are working on access to emergency services for the disabled. So far, that has been concentrating on the deaf, but with the available spectrum, we will be able to do the same job for others with other disabilities. And as a public health physician, I'm pleased to note that quite a few of the speakers have mentioned the public safety communication area. My experience from emergency centres, etc., tell me that the level of service we are able to provide to our customers, which are the public, is coherent with the resources we get. Spectrum is one of those resources, and that leads to a couple of questions. Considering that today defence is using 27%, transport 20%, and public safety communication 0.9% of spectrum, I would like to ask if that is a satisfactory situation. And I would also like to ask you if you could take into consideration the linearity between quality of services and the spectrum allocated, both for those with special needs and for the general public in public safety. Thank you.
Maybe in general terms now, the one who wants to intervene, if there are no more people.
So no more representative from the silent minority. So we'll then open the floor more generally to stakeholders then.
Andrew Sterling representing Microsoft. I think we're one of the newer entrants on the spectrum scene. But sorry. Yes. So Microsoft is welcoming the expressions of a desire for an ambitious framework, strategic framework that increases flexibility. And as a considerable investor in R&D, including in research centres in Europe and other parts of the world, we get a fair view of, we think, certainly what's coming down the wire or the road, whatever you'd like to call it. And one of those key things that's coming is something we call the cloud computing. I don't think it's come up so far, but just think, we haven't got time for a full explanation. It's something that would use a conference in its own right. But think about online email, social networks and the like. And of course, you can see the benefits for consumers of those things, but also think about the benefits for SMEs and the potential that gives them for huge reach and massive scalability. So if we see SMEs as being an engine for future growth, then this is something we ought to be looking at very carefully in terms of a provision we make. And basically what we need for that is ubiquitous and affordable internet access. And how do we get there? Well, it's key to create a framework that gives flexible access, increases flexibility, allowing access on an exclusive and a non-exclusive basis. We think one of the key ways to do that is to enable the use of databases which allow the rights to be managed according to your location so that consumers enjoy the benefits of spectrum where they are, and also that, for example, rural areas get to enjoy the benefits of the lots of spectrum capacity that they have, which would offset disadvantages they face in other ways. And we think one of the prime examples we should focus on first is white spaces in UHF, because that spectrum is available at much shorter notice than some of the other bands that might have to be cleared. And two examples just to throw into the pot. We've got some potential trials starting. We've already got some underway in the US on white spaces, delivering benefits to both rural and municipal applications. And also a very exciting one in Europe that we're looking at the moment, where a public safety user group has come forward and asked us to use white spaces as a way of getting flexible, on-demand access to spectrum. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Take into account the 1 minute and a half. If we have more time, because we have not enough people asking for the floor, so we can come back to the one that has intervened previously. So next, please, can you introduce yourself and then...
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairwoman. I'm from TDF in France, but here speak on behalf of the newly created Broadcast Networks Europe Association of Broadcast Network Operators, and we are gathering operators from about more than 20 countries in Europe. And of course, we welcome all efforts aiming at an efficient use of spectrum, but would just like to point out the importance of the absence of this panel, which is digital terrestrial television, which in fact provides today over to 75 million households in Europe, and is the fastest growing digital platform in Europe, and for the first time has enabled many households to access digital television. The platform is the only platform throughout Europe that guarantees nearly all viewers access to the broad range of free-to-air television services to up to, in some countries, 90% of the population, whatever it is from public and commercial broadcasters. So DTT is the main actor for transition to digital television. Many investments have been made, and we are keen to avoid a paradox where we could not also benefit for the efforts which result into creating the digital dividend, because we need it, and we need it in order to prepare the future and to cope with the innovation that comes in the television business, whatever it is HD, which will be standard television tomorrow, and even 3D. And that's for the benefit of the European citizens, and of course, taking into account the diversity of situation of the different member states. That means that everything is not moving at the same point in each of the countries. So I think someone has to speak on behalf of this industry, which was not present on this panel.
Thank you very much. Next question, please.
Thank you. My name is Hazem Walker. I'm actually... Can you hear me? Yes, my name is Hazem Walker. I'm actually coming from outside the region, but because of the international nature of the spectrum, what I'm representing a company in the UAE called Yasat, a satellite operator. But what I found conspicuously absent from the discussions is how do you protect the incumbent services that have invested tremendously. I mean, again, because of the international spectrum, the international nature of the spectrum, we are a satellite operator based outside of Europe, but we will be covering Europe. So what Europe does will impact us because of the proximity. So protecting incumbent services that have invested heavily, such as satellite communications, is extremely important. So I think it's when looking forward at, let's say, the sexy applications of the future of let's say mobile